Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you on the road from Knoxville, Tennessee. I wish we were at the Joe, but it's Alabama baseball on the road starting tonight with a 3-game series against the Tennessee Vols in baseball. Also this weekend, Knoxville will be the site of Alabama softball starting on Saturday, a Saturday through Monday series coming up for Alabama at Tennessee as well. So it's a busy weekend coming up on the road as we start our show Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We'll begin the program by taking a look at what's coming up on the show, plus our headlines thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's on the show this afternoon. We'll be talking softball and baseball at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center podcast studio. First, softball with catcher Marlie Giles, then baseball with Jason Torres. Then we'll focus on NASCAR for the second half of the show. Larry McReynolds, a huge Alabama fan and a Fox Sports NASCAR analyst, he'll join us to preview Talladega, and we'll also get thoughts from Bray Hubbard and Lauren Johnson on Talladega and racing once again coming up this weekend in Alabama with the Road to Talladega series. That's what's coming up on this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Looking at our headlines, first for Alabama baseball, Tuesday night was a really rough night. UAB scored 7 runs in the first inning, eventually picked up the 11-2 win over the Crimson Tide. Certainly a gut-check performance for Alabama, as Rob Vaughn talked about in his post-game conversation with David Kindred and I on radio after the game. So it's a tough loss for Alabama, but the Crimson Tide quickly hit the road on Wednesday, really trying to reset, getting ready for this series against Tennessee that again will be played Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon, and these teams only separated by 1 game in the standings. Alabama 9-9, Tennessee 8-10, kind of in the middle of the pack in the SEC, but still within striking distance of the teams at the top of the league. What a year it's been. Kind of everyone bunched around this 500 mark in SEC baseball. This is going to be a huge series coming up between the Crimson Tide and the Tennessee Volunteers. Going over to softball, Tuesday was a winning night for Alabama softball in Birmingham against UAB. 6-0 was the final score of that ball game. And now Coach Murphy's team will also hit the road to take on Tennessee. As I mentioned, that series from Saturday to Sunday. And if you're a diehard Alabama fan, you can go to all 6 games coming up this weekend in Knoxville. The baseball team getting it started early, softball finishing late, and even the game times are staggered on Saturday, the one day that the 2 series have in common. Alabama needing some wins against Tennessee, a team near the top of the SEC standings. Right now, Alabama leading the league, tied for the lead with a 15-3 mark in SEC play. Only 2 weekends are left in this softball season, so this is a critical series. Alabama on the road at Tennessee coming up this weekend. And here on the show, we're going to start the program by talking softball ahead of the Tennessee weekend with Marlie Giles, catcher for the Crimson Tide, who last year joined us on this program and talked about her journey from Chilton County all the way to Alabama, growing up a Crimson Tide fan, now getting to live out her dream. In this conversation, we talk mostly about her leadership of team number 30 as one of the team captains for Alabama this season. Here's our conversation with Marlie Giles. So what has made Team 30 so special?
I would say all the different people we have. We've got a lot of personality. We've got a lot of different strengths throughout the team. We've got people that can run really fast, people that can hit it really far. We've got some really good pitchers, and we've got really good defense. So I would just say that this team is very diverse, and I think that is our biggest strong suit.
Can you believe it's your senior year?
No, it's flown by.
It really has. I mean, some amazing moments for you in your career, and I know the senior day celebration had to be part of it. Mm-hmm. Is it nice the way that Coach Murphy really celebrates every senior individually?
Yeah, especially we had a group of 7 seniors this year, so them taking the time for us each to have our own senior day really meant a lot, and we know that it's a lot of planning, especially on the coaching staff side and Jaden's side as well, who are our director of ops. It's a lot having to do it in separate days, so we really appreciate him letting us be able to celebrate with our families one by one, so it's really cool.
Yeah, how many people did you have on the pass list that day?
A lot. My teammates were very generous, and they helped me out and gave me some tickets, so I was able to get a lot of them in, but a lot of them had tickets already because of season tickets and stuff like that, so that helped.
Well, that was a really special weekend when Alabama played Arkansas. A special weekend as well. We saw just recently home against Texas. I know the first game didn't go the way you wanted. How did this group bounce back the next 2 days?
Yeah, we stuck to our plan, stuck to our process, trusted all the work we had put in all week, And we knew that we didn't have our best game that first game, and we just wanted to lay it all out there and play our best and see if we could pull out the win, and we did 2 days in a row. So I think that just kind of shows our resiliency and just our bounce back and able to just trust everything that we've been working on and been doing this year. And so, yeah.
We really got to see that, especially offensively from the Crimson Tide. Then I know for you, getting to work with Alabama's pitching staff, just how good have they been, especially in SEC play?
Oh, they've been amazing. Through and through, even if one of them has a bad game, the next game they come back even better than the one before. They don't ponder. They don't think about past mistakes. They're able to look towards the future and just keep working on things and keep getting better and better, growing in their competitiveness and grittiness and being able to, if they give up a home run, oh well, next pitch. If we are struggling offensively, they have our backs and they hold them to no runs or minimal runs. So really just being able to trust each other on both sides of the ball has been really good for us this year.
And you've gotten to catch Jocelyn Brisky since she came to Alabama a few years ago. How has she evolved in her style the last few years?
Yeah, I would say that she has learned a lot. She got here and learned how to throw a drop ball in her freshman year. That was mainly what she threw. She didn't really throw hardly anything else. And then last year she started to incorporate rise and drop together. So that was really helping her. And then this year she's really, I don't want to say mastered because it's hard to put that word on something, but she's really got the hang of both of them very well and being able to control those as well as throwing her change up a lot more this year too. So it's like 3 different pitches instead of just 2, which just makes it a lot harder for the hitters to be able to have a plan and stick to it.
She's been fun to watch. We've got to know her a lot with a lot of interviews in here, but somebody else we've got to know this season is Vic Moten, who came in here as confident as any player I've seen from really any sport, and I imagine that's what you've seen since she got to campus.
Yeah. She's got a reason to be. She stepped on campus, and we did lots of scrimmages back in the fall, and being able to watch her, especially hitters, we knew, her and Caitlin Palazzi, they both came in ranked as really good pitchers, and Caitlin's a great pitcher as well. But I would say being able to watch them two and hit off of them, myself and our team, they made us better as hitters as well in preseason and in the fall. Just thinking about how well them two have done against other teams, think about how much better that made us offensively because we were able to test ourselves along with Joss in the fall and going up into the spring. So them two, Kate and Vic, I just so happy for both of them and just hope that they have all the confidence in the world because I know that our team believes in them through and through.
Yeah, with them, what individually are they doing best right now? Just like Vic, in the circle with their pitches and things like that.
Vic is more like Joss right now, so she's drop and rise. Change-up's not quite there yet. She would probably tell you that, but she's working on it, and she's doing very well for herself right now. And Kate's more rise right now, but she's like Joss working on drop and trying to get that in her arsenal as well, and she's doing well with it. But I think that she's got a lot more room to grow in that pitch specifically. But she's a natural rise girly, and so that is really what pushes her through and gets through those batters.
Fun results as a result. We've seen that against Texas, that great series win that gets Alabama to number 1, and then you guys keep it going to Auburn and picking up a series sweep over the Tigers. How special was that weekend?
It was awesome. My freshman and sophomore year, we lost both of the series to Auburn. So coming in, I made it very well known that we had not won a series against them, and obviously being ranked 1, 2, 3, whatever you look at, we can't afford to lose a single game, much less the series versus them. So for us, that was just a huge win. I know a lot of people would look past Auburn and say that they're not ranked or they don't have a whole lot of losses they don't have a whole lot of big wins or they have too many losses, but they're a good ball team. And it's a rivalry that they'll always put up their best game against us. So being able to go down there and take care of business really meant a lot and sets us up good down the road.
Are you especially fired up being from the state of Alabama? We have a few Alabama natives also on the roster, but do you all kind of tell everybody that's not from Alabama how much Alabama-Auburn really means?
We do. I would say Kinley Pate and Holly Beth really put it in there for the most part at practice and stuff, telling everybody what the rivalry means and explaining it to everybody. But they're both from Tuscaloosa as well. So, I'm a diehard Alabama fan. So, yes, I've definitely don't like that team at all, but those two definitely told the team more about it than I did this week, and I let them handle it, so that they did a great job.
That's pretty cool. Well, as this senior year continues for you, how have you liked being in a leadership role as opposed to maybe early in your career where you're just kind of finding your voice, just getting on the field in some spots, but now being an everyday player and a leader? How important is that role?
I mean, it's important to me. I would say that I never wanted to wait until I was given a, in quotes, leadership role. I think that we make it very known on our team that it doesn't matter who you are, you have a role. And so for me, being a freshman, my role was I led the dugout in every way I could. And so I was going to yell as loud as I could, make sure the team was ready and fired up. And then my sophomore year started playing a little bit more, maybe getting a little bit more of the trying to hold everybody together on defense and maybe hitting. But I think that you say like leadership role, I don't think that that's ever, I think it's something that is always there, and it's not something that you put a label on. It's just something that somebody is. And like somebody says that, okay, we're doing this, we need this. Okay, well, we need this. Okay, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we get what we need. And so at the time, we need somebody to do this, so I'm going to try and do that. And obviously, I'm far from perfect, and there's many things that I mess up on the leadership side. And so, but I mean, I try my best to just be what this team needs. And you could say, yes, it's maybe a leadership role, or maybe it's just a friend to be there whenever somebody's going through something, but really just being there with whatever we need, whatever that may be. And so that's kind of how I see it.
Do you like seeing some freshmen kind of finding their own voice as the season goes along?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that Vic, especially like early on, she in preseason and stuff, or before season started, we didn't see much emotion out of her on the field, especially in scrimmages and stuff. And it's a little different playing your own team, but I remember I think it was Georgia Tech, like the very very first game of the season. I think she threw like a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. Just seeing like her emotion and being fired up after a game or after she struck somebody out. Like that is what I love and crave, and just being able to see individually exactly what you're talking about. Like that's Vic's way of kind of growing up a little bit and showing emotion, because emotion is good, but it's also, we got to control it and use it and not just let it get too much. And so I think with that, I mean, everybody's different in their roles and how they portray in their best quantity or be their best selves. It's all different, but I would say it's been awesome to see everybody grow in their own way.
That's really great. And then for Coach Murphy, he's been around all of this with Alabama softball for 30 years, 28 as the head coach, and he recently got win number 500 in SEC play. What a cool milestone that is for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was the first softball coach to hit that, which just shows a testament to him and all he's done these past years. And he's just such an amazing guy, such an amazing role model to look up to, just truly taking on the person over athlete and teaching his girls that it's more about who you are as a person than anything you do on the field. And he just teaches his players and impacts so many people about just the realities of life and how important it is to be just a good person and to be able to help those around you.
Do you love as well that he's getting more attention now from these other teams on campus? A couple of years ago, the Final Four run, Nate Oates kept saying Mudita. Coach Murphy talked to the team, things like that. And now, he's very busy with every team we have on our campus. But do you love that Mudita's spreading to all these different parts of Alabama athletics?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a great speaker too. Like, he'll come back and he'll tell us he spoke to a sorority or he spoke to a fraternity, and he's doing more than just spreading Mudita and all that. He's also getting Alabama softball's name out there. Like all those students and all those people that he's impacted, like they come to our games and they support us and they follow us on Instagram, and like he's just building, like those relationships go far beyond just him knowing somebody. It's them then pouring into our program and then essentially pouring into us as the team as well.
Well, speaking of pouring into the team, what are you going to pour into this group as we continue the next few weeks? Back half of the SEC schedule, and then SEC tournament, regionals, super regionals, World Series are really just around the corner.
I would just say hard work. I mean, we come to practice every single day. We go in the weight room, and one thing that Coach Bray always talks about is whenever you graduate, you want to be content with what you did and rest. And that's when you rest, is when you graduate, and that's whenever you can not have any regret. And so my biggest thing is just not having any regret and just leaving it all out there and making memories with my team, whether that be after the games, before the games, during the games, just making memories and really just giving it all I have, whether that be on the field or off the field.
We look forward to seeing it all. Well, Marlie Giles, thank you for the time you've given us today on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We may talk to you again before the season comes to a close, but all the best with what's ahead. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Here we are, Roxon.
Talladega, baby.
Here we go. And that, one of those. Oh, a selfie? Hell yeah.
Now we stay at the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center at our podcast studio to hear from Jason Torres, third baseman for the Crimson Tide. This is our second conversation with him this season on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, as we look back to some of the fun moments we've had for the Alabama baseball team this season and everything that's ahead for Alabama on the diamond. Jason, it's been a good stretch for this Alabama baseball team since the last time we talked to you. What do you see from you and your teammates over the last couple of weeks at getting some wins in SEC play?
Honestly, I think we're just having fun out there. Coach Vaughn has been kind of preaching on us, just go out there, play loose, and trust in the process that we've done, and go out there with your boys and just leave it all out there, really. Like, if you don't get it done, you got your other boy behind you. If you don't get it done, you got another boy behind him. Same thing on the mound. If you're not pitching well, it's all right. The next guy at the bullpen is going to pick you up, and I feel like that's the big thing right now. We're just playing loose and knowing we got our backs,
And a lot of good energy from this team, too. We talked to you around the Kentucky series. Alabama had just lost 3 in a row to Kentucky. But Coach Vaughn talked about, even though going into that game against South Alabama, even though that ended up being a loss, he liked a lot of things he saw from you guys, maybe a little more energetic in the dugout. How's that kind of paid off in this whole team?
I mean, you don't want to be like a cheerleading team, like something like that, but having energy definitely helps. You take a good pitch and a 0-2 count, like that's something you should cheer about. That's something hard to do in this game, So that's something we're trying to do right now. And I mean, the energy is just good when you're playing good, So once we get those good runs in a few innings and stuff, like the energy is gonna be there, and that just carries on to the next game.
And then really nothing turns the season around like a no-hitter, like we got to see from Tyler Fay. You got to see all of it, being at third base for the Crimson Tide in that game, making some good plays. Just what'd you see from Tyler that night?
Yeah, he was really just hitting his spots. Like, I have the pitch com up in my head, it says slider away, and he's throwing it exactly where they're calling it. So he was just hitting his spots and really letting them put the ball in play as well, like not forcing anything, just throwing the ball over the wire, hitting his spots, and that's what happened. I mean, I have never seen one of those before. One person throw a complete game no-hitter like that. I actually asked the umpire as well, the one behind the play. I'm like, hey, have you ever seen a no-hitter like that? He's like, man, I've been doing this for 25 years, never seen one. So it was just something that's crazy for real.
Did you ask him that during the game?
I asked him after the next day because he was umpiring third base, and I had to ask him about it. He said it's been 25 years since he's seen that. He's never seen it before.
That's pretty cool. So as that game was going along, how much were you even thinking about the no-hitter?
Honestly, I looked up in about the 7th inning. I wasn't really paying much attention to it, but I looked up in the 7th inning. I was like, whoa, let me not look back again. I don't want to mess it up. But, yeah, going into the 9th inning, I was honestly like, any close play, I'm about to just throw the ball in the dugout because I'd rather get the error instead of the hit, Like, I want my boy to have a no-hitter, so that's all we were thinking. But it was fun. Thank God he ended up getting it because that was really fun.
And you're really pumped too. This modern age of day in baseball, so many pitching coaches, you get to a certain number of pitches, they're like, no matter what, you're out. But JJ was out, and Coach Vaughn as well, allowed Tyler to continue that thing. And also, he was having some low stress innings out there. But was it really cool to see the belief in the coaches in him?
Yeah, 100%. I don't even think there was much of them even thinking about it, honestly, because Tyler Fay was just doing really good. And you'll go up to him and ask him how you're feeling. He's like, I'm feeling great. Like, I don't think anybody was getting him out the game, really. If you told him he was coming out, I don't think he was going to let you. So, and then this weekend, they pulled him out a little earlier because last weekend was a little longer, And then we got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this weekend. So it all ended up being well,
It really was a cool moment again, getting to celebrate with him. And then you guys did a lot of celebrating in that Florida series, winning the Saturday game, and then that Sunday game maybe about the craziest we've seen all year, right?
Yeah, that was a super fun game. Everybody was telling me about these first 2 games, Friday, Saturday against Auburn. And if I'm being honest, I think that Sunday game against Florida was just a little bit more exciting. I don't know what it was, but when Brady hit that grand slam after the first pitch, that was electric for real.
It took away some of your RBI potential, but who cares?
It's all right, trust me. I don't mind it.
Yeah, is it fun hitting behind Brady? How does he help you when you're in that circle?
It's been like 4 straight games now, though. I feel like he leads off with a leadoff double every time. So it's kind of funny. But no, I love hitting behind him. He's always getting hits, driving guys in, so it makes my life a lot easier, honestly.
It really does. And then you were at the plate for the go-ahead run in the Sunday game against Auburn as well. You had Justin LeBron at third. You were showing bunt. Just take us through the rest of the play.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Vaughn told us in the huddle that we're probably going to safety here to first, but make sure they don't crash the first baseman, because if he ends up crashing and I bunt right to him, he's going to be out at the plate. So I saw him crash. I just pulled it back, and I mean, I didn't even have to bunt, you know. So that was awesome.
It really was. And again, that's just part of this team this year. Do you like the fact that you guys use the bunts a little more than you did last year?
Oh, actually, I love it, honestly. I feel like there's times that, I mean, I'm not going to tell Coach Vaughn to bunt me, you know, but there's times that I don't mind bunting, and I look over and he doesn't put it on. I'm like, oh, honestly, I thought I was going to bunt, you know, because it's stuff that we work on a lot and we're really good at it. So when they put it on, I feel like we all take pride in doing it because it's something we practice every single day in practice. So honestly, to me, it's fun. I've never bunted so much in my life. So
so a lot more practice with that and BP and stuff like that?
Yeah, before every practice, we'll set up 4 different groups with like 4 different type of machines, and we just go out there and bunt for like 15, 20 minutes.
That's important because, again, it pays off in these extra 90 feet you guys are always working on. And, again, LeBron, you know, before as he scored on the ball in the dirt, like you mentioned, he was able to steal second, take third in a wild pitch, come home on a wild pitch. You guys are always fighting for that extra 90 feet.
Yeah, and we're also stealing a lot more bags this year, which is important as well. Instead of running on first with 1 out and he gets a single, he goes first to third. If he's on second base, that's a run instead of first to third. So, I mean, especially in the SEC, just 1 run every inning, that's really big, you know, like 1 run could separate the whole game, maybe even the outcome of the whole weekend, you know. So you got to take runs when you can, especially in this league.
Really have to. And then for you, getting on base is important because right behind you right now in the order, we're seeing John Lim do some really special things. What's it like watching him?
Yeah, he's fun to watch, especially in practice, honestly. That guy hits the ball really hard. I don't think people realize that, but when he gets one, it goes really hard and really far. Like, it's actually crazy. But he works on it. Like, he's a really hard worker, and he deserves it, honestly. I feel like he's not even playing his best either right now. You guys are going to see him play better, I believe, so he deserves it. He's working hard.
Another guy that's worked hard, Will Platner. I mean, started off in a tough slump to begin the season. You're wondering how much playing time is he going to get with Brady and John doing so well, but he's come in and been a difference maker in SEC play.
Yeah, he did the same thing last year, honestly. He was telling me before we went into SEC play, like, I can't wait to see these SEC arms. You know, that's when I'm going to go off, and that's what he's done. I mean, he started off not too well, you know, but he kept his head straight. Like, he was always working. He had the right attitude, showed up to the field every day with the same attitude. I mean, he's our captain, so that's why he's our captain, really.
So how do you guys now, coming off back-to-back weeks at home against Florida and Auburn at the time we record, how do you kind of channel all that energy and take it on the road with you for what's coming up the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, just be ourselves. Same thing we've been doing these past few weeks, you know, just play with a lot of energy, a lot of focus, play for each other because, you know, the road's a little different. So we want to prove to people that we could play on the road as well.
That's going to be really important for Alabama coming up. Again, how much fun are you just having another season in Crimson? We talked to the last episode about the decision to come back. Moments like you've had the last couple of weeks, does it show you made the right call?
Yeah, these past few, especially this week in sweeping Auburn, that's why you come back here, you know what I mean? Like, that hasn't happened in a really long time, and it's just a lot of fun. You see all the guys that have been here for 4 years, you see how much it means to them. And, I mean, I've only been here 2 years, but it means a lot to me too, but it's fun when you see everybody is just bought into the same thing, and it's really exciting.
We talked last time about the victory lap you guys do with the Right Field Ragers. How about the victory leap you guys took on Sunday? Did you make it up there?
I didn't go up there because I don't know if I would have made it up there. I saw some guys struggling, so I was like, I'm not even going to try. But no, it was fun. It was fun. Those guys, they show out, and I mean, I don't think it's a better thing in college baseball, really. Those guys, they're there every game, and it's fun to watch.
That's a really special connection you guys get to have. So, again, for you, as we continue over these next few weeks, what's going to be most important with your approach at the plate and defensively at third base?
I feel like just keeping it simple the same way, you know, and putting the ball in play, and same thing we've been doing our job, move the runner over, sack fly, there's a run on third, less than 2 outs, and just playing baseball, really, not trying to do too much. I feel like that's what we've all been doing lately. And that's why it's going well, drawing our walks when we can, staying in the box, taking our hit by pitches, making sure we got guys on base every inning. And, I mean, defensively is just making the easy plays. You know, you don't have to make nothing spectacular. You just got to make the easy plays that are right at you. So I think we're going to be good.
We've enjoyed watching it, Jason Torres. Thanks for joining us again this season on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. All the best to you guys. Roll Tide.
I appreciate it. Roll Tide.
Now, for the rest of the show, we'll be talking NASCAR, the Jack Links 500 coming to Talladega this weekend on Sunday as the crowning mark of this great weekend of racing at Talladega. Always a unique experience, always a lot of fun, and we always enjoy catching up with Larry McReynolds on all things NASCAR. Of course, a longtime crew chief in the sport, as well as working many years, over 20 years for Fox Sports as an analyst. He joins us to preview the Talladega race, yes, but also give us some thoughts on Crimson Tide football. You won't find a more die-hard football fan than Larry McReynolds. So it's always great to catch up with Larry Mack as we get ready for racing in Talladega. Larry, it is great to see you. Talladega is coming up this weekend. How excited are you to get back to Sweet Home Alabama?
Well, even though, Roger, I've been gone from Alabama for 45 years, I still get excited. The 2 trips a year that we make to Talladega, I still look at it as my home track. To be able to win there in 1992 with Davey Allison and Robert Yates Racing. And let's face it, the racing, the finishes, what happens in the closing laps, it never lets us down there at Talladega, that's for sure.
It really doesn't. What does it take to win at Talladega? First, to build a car that's going to be in contention for the end of that race, and then the kind of driver necessary to make sure they pull it out in the end.
Yeah, and I was really fortunate the majority of my career, Roger, to work with race teams like Robert Yates Racing, like Richard Childress Racing, that really had good super speedway programs. They put a lot of effort into the bodies, the aerodynamics, and they put a lot of effort into the engines, which we know that's one of the more important parts of winning races at a Daytona or Talladega. But then I was also fortunate enough to work with drivers that understood super speedway racing because it is a little bit of a chess game. You know, most races we go to, Roger, they're very physically demanding. But I think when it comes to Talladega, it's very mentally demanding because you think about these guys on Sunday, 188 laps. Yeah, we're going to have a few caution laps, but they're basically out there running over 190 miles per hour, 3, sometimes 4 wide, 7 or 8 rows deep. And as a crew chief, I used to always say, you can go to a Daytona or Talladega, you can have the fastest race car, you can have the best handling race car, your pit stops can be absolutely flawless, your strategy can be 100% spot on, but the outcome of your day may come down to the last corner of the last lap, either a move your driver makes or a move another driver makes that actually determines your outcome of running around there for 188 laps or 500 miles. Once we used to make our last pit stop, and I don't think it's any different now for these guys, I used to sit on the pit box and I really was just a race fan because there was nothing else I could do. It was up to my driver and then the spotter that was kind of giving him information.
And all that information as well, you're trying to avoid the big one. How much is that still the big one in terms of like a big crash that can take out as many as a dozen cars or even more? How much of that is still prevalent in today's NASCAR racing at Talladega?
It's huge because you think about how close they're going to be running, like I mentioned, and all it takes is one driver just making one small wrong move or maybe a push that goes bad, and the next thing you've done, you've involved half the field. Joey Logano is kind of the poster child. Joey Logano is an amazing super speedway racer. He's won at Talladega, he's won a Daytona 500, but his luck of avoiding the big one, and sometimes he's kind of been the instigator of it, his luck at avoiding the big one has been horrible. I look back at his numbers the other day, and I think if you go all the way back to 2020, he maybe has one top 5 finish there and a lot of finishes outside the top 25, outside the top 30. And he's probably led as many laps there as anybody, but he seemingly just gets caught up in the big one in the closing stages of the race.
Well, this weekend, everybody turns to Alabama and Talladega, but you've been busy on the road covering these NASCAR races over the last few weeks. And so far, Larry, it's really seemed like the year of Tyler Reddick. What's allowed him to have success and pick up 5 wins already this season?
And, you know, to me, to win 5 of the first 9 races, I know the last time it was done, you've got to go back to the mid-'80s when Dale Earnhardt, I think, won 6 of the first 9. But to do it in an era where the competition is so strong, every single week, people ask me who's the favorite this week, and I can give you 12 up to a dozen and a half drivers that could truly win the race because the competition is just that strong. But to me, what even makes it more extraordinary, what Tyler Reddick and that 45 team has done, Roger, is now they've done it in all these different types of racetracks, and they've done it with a lot of different rules package. They won Daytona at a super speedway. They won at Atlanta, which is kind of a hybrid super speedway. They won on a road course at Coda. They won at Darlington, and then just recently at Kansas, a mile and a half intermediate. To me, that's what makes it so extraordinary. And you know what? When I look at these next 3 or 4 races, he won Daytona, and we're coming to Talladega. He's won at Texas. We know how well he's run there at the mile and a half. And oh, by the way, he does pretty good on road courses. And then we go to Watkins Glen. I could see a path where this role doesn't really end at Kansas this past weekend.
Yeah, it's been remarkable to see. And for him, he's racing for 2311 Racing, co-owned by Denny Hamlin as well as Michael Jordan. First of all, how much have you gotten to interact with Michael Jordan around the racetrack the last couple of years?
You know, I really have not been around him that much. I've passed him in the garage area, and he's gestured to me, and I've gestured to him. Jamie Little, who's our pit reporter, she seems like she has developed a good relationship with him because I told Jamie the other day, I said, I think you've interviewed Michael Jordan more than some reporters did when he was playing basketball. But that means he's doing something good as an owner. But what I'm impressed about Michael Jordan, Roger, we've had so many great athletes come, or just personalities come and be involved in NASCAR. And it was kind of in name only. Michael Jordan is here. And it didn't just start this year, now that they've started winning all these races. He's been here ever since the beginning, going all the way back to 2021. Heck, I go back to Kansas, something unheard of. He was even down on pit road on Saturday during practice and qualifying. He is truly engaged with that race team, which is pretty impressive.
Well, a lot of fans saw his name in the news over the offseason, November and December, with the court case. He and Denny Hamlin starting to challenge the charter system with NASCAR, and eventually they did come to a settlement. For fans that maybe just saw a couple of headlines or don't truly understand the impact of that case, what would you tell them?
Well, I think it was a game changer for our sport. I think everybody kind of reached an agreement. Thank the good Lord it didn't go all the way to a decision that was made by a jury, because I was pretty scared that there was individuals on a jury that maybe knew little to nothing about NASCAR that was going to determine the future of our sport. It was almost a little bit scary. But, Michael Jordan is a businessman. Denny Hamlin is a businessman. They've got a lot of other people involved with that organization. And I think what they did, and I really wasn't in the corner of saying NASCAR's right or the race teams are right. I just wanted to see them sorted out. But I think at the end of the day, everybody ended up better. I think NASCAR ended up better. I think the teams ended up better. It's going to be better for the future of the sport. It's going to be better for the future of owners. And I'm just glad they finally reached an agreement before it went all the way through the whole court case there in the court here in Charlotte.
That really is good to see. Does that make it just more comfortable for ownership spending this kind of money, knowing they have the commitment that they will still be in the game for years down the road?
Well, I think the biggest thing that came out of it for the owners, Roger, and it seemed to be one of the big sticklers, is they wanted permanent charters. And Jim France, most predominantly, said, I can't commit permanent charters any longer than the TV contract is. Well, that's one of the things that they compromised on. And I think now that an owner can come here that has one of these 36 charters and know it's permanent. Now, obviously, NASCAR still has to approve an owner leasing a charter. They still have to approve an owner selling a charter. But I think now, especially for the sake of securing sponsorship, knowing that it's permanent, I think that's a big deal for the owners. Yeah, there were some other things that came out of it, Roger, but I think the big deal, which is one of the big things that the owners were asking for, was permanent charters. I think that was the big box that got checked.
Well, we've been enjoying this NASCAR season, and we know, of course, you're a huge Alabama fan, huge Alabama football fan. I know there were some ups and downs for the Crimson Tide last season. I believe the last time we talked to you was in October as Alabama was kind of going through the ups and downs. How did you see last season finish for Kalen DeBoer, and how excited are you for year 3 of his tenure coming up here at Alabama?
Well, let's just say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm kind of grounded. Yeah, we're headed into year 3 with Kalen DeBoer there, and it has been very up and down. And you know, when they went to Norman, Oklahoma, and beat Oklahoma in the playoffs after getting beat by them in the regular season, my optimism ramped up quite a bit. But I've got to say, about 2 or 3 minutes into that Indiana game, that optimism completely went out the window. I'm anxious to see how we're going to fill some of these holes. Where are we at with our quarterback? You know, I'm excited to see the draft this week with the NFL. You know, where is Ty Simpson going to truly go in the draft? Where is Caden Proctor going to go? Where is Bernard going to go? I'm anxious for those guys that meant a lot to our program. But let's just say I'm cautiously optimistic. Of course, week 3 is that team that we didn't start off with so well. The good thing is we've got Florida State and Tuscaloosa, but we've got a tough schedule, Roger, which I think all the SEC teams do. You know, we've got to go to Knoxville. We've got to go to Baton Rouge. We've got to go to Vandy. Yeah, we've got some big teams that's coming to Tuscaloosa. I am still riding the Kalen DeBoer train, though. I never got off of it. I still think he's the right guy for it, but I will say this, year 3, we better win a bunch of football games, and we better go very deep into the playoffs, maybe even bringing that trophy back to Tuscaloosa for the 19th time.
Absolutely. That is always the goal with Alabama football. Well, Larry Mack, always great to see you. Appreciate your insights on NASCAR as we get ready for this weekend in Talladega, and look forward to catching up with you again down the road on Crimson Tide football and just everything going on with you. Just thank you for all the time you've given us and all the best in your travels. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Well, I always appreciate you having me. I tell people all the time, you know, we only have 2 things in Alabama, and that's Talladega and Tuscaloosa. That little town called Auburn, it's close enough to the state line. We just let Georgia claim them. So we got Talladega and we got Tuscaloosa, and we love them both. And absolutely, Roger, roll damn Tide.
Here they come! He got it! He timed it perfect! Another frantic Talladega finish.
Welcome back to Road to Talladega, presented by NASCAR. I'm Lauren Johnson.
And I'm Bray Hubbard. And yeah, Kansas just gave us another wild one.
Overtime, strategy, chaos, everything you want in a race.
The Advent held 400 at Kansas, and it came down to the final laps.
And it was Tyler Reddick getting it done in overtime, his 5th win of the season already.
That's huge, especially with how this race played out, because Denny Hamlin looked like the guy to beat early.
Yeah, Hamlin dominated stage 1, leading 75 of the first 80 laps. And then Kyle Larson takes over in stage 2, picking off drivers left and right on his way to the checkered flag, which looked awfully familiar.
Pass is intercepted by Bray. Hubbard looking across the middle. That is picked off. Hubbard again. 2nd interception of the game for Alabama.
Hey, that's Kansas. It's all about how you finish.
Late caution, overtime restart, and Reddick executes when it matters most. Time for straightaway standout. Bray, who stood out to you this week?
It's Tyler Reddick. 5 wins already this season. That's not a hot streak. That's total domination.
I'm going Kyle Larson. Didn't win but led. Won a stage and stayed fast all day. That's going to translate down the road. Now it's time. The Jack Links 500 at Talladega Superspeedway.
This is it. Fastest track on the schedule, pack racing, and honestly, anything can happen.
We're talking door-to-door dogfights at nearly 200 miles per hour. One move can win the race or take out half the field.
The big one is always lurking. You've got to be aggressive but smart.
And this one hits different for us, racing in Alabama in front of that crowd.
There's nothing like it. You feel that energy the entire time.
Drafting, teamwork, timing your run, it's almost like a chess match at full speed.
And the driver who makes the right move at the right moment, that's your winner. Picks of the week. I'm sticking with Tyler Reddick until someone proves they can stop him. I'm rolling with the hottest driver on the track.
Tough to argue with that kind of dominance this season, but I'm going Chase Briscoe. He was able to get it done at Talladega last fall and coming off a top 3 finish this past weekend. He's got all the tools to take home the checkered this weekend at Dega.
Speed versus momentum.
We'll see which one wins out. That's it for this week's Road to Talladega. Up next, the Jack Links 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. Be sure to catch all the action this Sunday at 2 p.m. Central on Fox.
If you haven't snagged your tickets yet for Talladega, make sure you lock those in now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. I'll be there on April 26th, and you're not going to want to miss it.
We'll be back to break down all the action from Talladega. See you next week.
Appreciate the time of Bray Hubbard of the Alabama football team, Lauren Johnson of Alabama softball, giving us their NASCAR thoughts. They're huge NASCAR fans, just like Larry McReynolds is huge fans of Alabama athletics. So fun way to close out the show today. We'll take a look at our upcoming schedule, see what's happening. Spoiler alert, a lot coming up in Knoxville, Tennessee, as we take a look at that upcoming schedule. As I mentioned, it's all Knoxville this weekend. Alabama baseball getting it started at 5:30 tonight. Our radio coverage will start at 5:15 across the network. Tomorrow's game at 6 p.m. and then Saturday, both teams in action. Baseball gets it started at noon. Softball at 3 o'clock, and then softball continuing its series both on Sunday in the afternoon and Monday night. At the same time, we will have Hey Coach, the final edition of Hey Coach, coming up next Monday at Baumhower's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa at 6 p.m. Hope a lot of you can join us for the final show of the year. Then we'll be back with this program, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, coming up next week as well. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at UA_CTSN, especially subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss anything from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It's going to wrap up this busy edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest, Marlie Giles of Alabama softball, Jason Torres of Alabama baseball, and Larry McReynolds, talking all things NASCAR and a little bit of Alabama football as well. Thanks as well to John Lassiter leading our content team. He and his staff working together to make sure this show is possible. And thanks to all of you for watching. This is Roger Hoover with you from Knoxville. Now let's get ready for a busy weekend of Alabama baseball and softball. Hopefully a lot of wins coming up for the Crimson Tide. Until next time on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, thanks for watching and roll Tide.